Carrie-Ann Biondi, Associate Professor of Philosophy, has been named the recipient of Marymount Manhattan's College Teaching Excellence Award. This honor acknowledges a faculty member who exemplifies the best in student-centered teaching and learning. Congratulations, Dr. Biondi.
Thank you, Dr. Labasco, and thanks also to the faculty who nominated me for this award, Mark Connor, Judy Hanks, and Adrienne Bell, the alums who wrote lovely letters on my behalf, and the members of the selection committee, Brad Hurling, Laura Trop, and Gaston Chavin. It's overwhelming to be honored in this way when I'm surrounded by such outstanding faculty, and when I still have so much to learn about teaching. I begin with a little story about how and why I became a teacher, for I think it says a lot about my teaching philosophy. There are two things about my childhood that made me incredibly fortunate. The first is that my mom, sitting right in the middle there, did not push her dreams on me. Instead, she always told me that I should pursue whatever made me truly happy. The second is that I figured out early on what that was. You see, I've known since I was 5 years old that I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know until graduate school, when I changed my major yet again, that I would teach philosophy, but the teaching part's been set for a long time. School was an enchanted realm where marks on a page came to life, taking me on merry voyages with Pippi Longstocking, perplexing trails with Sherlock Holmes and Trixie Velvet, and back in time to the age of dinosaurs. Those wonderful books at school each had a person behind them, teaching me that the world and books and people contain treasures that we can seek out and be transformed by. My first student was my brother Richard, who's a year younger than me. I'd race home, Hermione-like, from school each day and sit my brother down with workbooks I'd created to teach him spelling, math, and history. Poor Richard. I was thrilled when he'd understand something new and challenged to figure out a new way of going at it when he didn't. He'd sometimes ask me things I didn't know, which sent me back to the library to figure out how to answer his questions, which led me to discover new ones I didn't realize I'd had. School was a magical place, and I wanted to stay there all my life. That's how I got hooked on teaching. Thanks to Mom for showing me how powerful it is for someone to allow you the space to become who you are. And to Richard for showing me that in order to teach well, teachers must remain alive to learning. Those were the first wobbly steps along my teaching journey that began nearly 40 years ago. Since then, two things have emerged essential to my attitude towards teaching: gratitude and risk. I'm grateful for every course I teach and for every student I have the honor of working with. Each class meeting of every course is a unique and unrepeatable occasion for learning. Fostering the potential that such occasions have takes more than doing lots of research and assigning carefully selected texts. It is true, as Ralph Waldo Emerson noted in The American Scholar, that colleges can only serve us highly when they aim not to drill but to create, when they gather from far every ray of various genius to the hospitable halls, and by the concentrated fires set the hearts of their youth on flame. However, I understand those rays of genius that we gather here to extend beyond the great texts of our traditions. Our students, too, are rays of genius. This day, Honors Day, gathers together in concentrated fashion and celebrates the genius of these young men and women. They inspire me by their dynamic and thoughtful openness to the world. Their probing questions, eager faces, and shining example challenge me to do my best every day. Because I recognize my students as active participants in their learning, I've adopted a largely Socratic way of teaching. This pedagogy is not only demanding, but also risky. It depends on so many things that are outside of my control. Have the students read that day? What do they think of their reading? How will they express what they're thinking? What questions will they pose for all of us to consider together? What if someone utters something that's not quite on point? One has to be prepared for just about anything. I'm often surprised and exhilarated by questions and interpretations I'd never considered that get surface in our conversations, and that lead us in directions unforeseen. In order to reach the exuberant heights of learning that this method makes possible, one must always remain open to the possibility of failure that risk involves. Goodness knows that some of my pedagogical experimentation has gone awry, as when my Great Questions assignment has backfired on account of some students' fears that their questions wouldn't be so great, or when some in-class writings I designed were more suitable for graduate students than for freshmen. Such failures, though, can be embraced as occasions for learning things that couldn't be gotten in any other way by the students and by myself. As J.K. Rowling, that master craftswoman of magical words, has insightfully remarked, you knew I'd get the Rowling quotation in there somewhere. It's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Eschewing caution in teaching, I ask my students to be courageous, to lift their eyes to the best within themselves, and to be assured that I strive wholeheartedly to mentor them in their quest. What they stand to gain is nothing less than an independent mind and a life well lived. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Biondi. Academic excellence is the hallmark of a Marymount Manhattan College education. This afternoon, we honor those students of the class of 2012 who have earned recognition for superior academic performance in several categories. Gold keys are awarded to graduates who have achieved excellence in their chosen academic fields. Faculty members in each department have selected the following graduates to receive this honor because their work is distinguished by superior performance, creativity, and academic integrity. I would like to invite our divisional chairs to come forward one at a time. Will each gold key recipient stand when your name is called and remain standing? We ask that audience members control themselves and hold their applause until all the recipients' names for each division have been called. Professor Vandana Rao.
My name is Dr. Vandana Rao, and as Divisional Chair of Accounting and Business Management, I'm pleased to announce our wonderful Gold Key awardees. Their faculty members have been asked to write a few words about them. Please stand as I call your names.